Hey guys, what's going on? It's Gunnar here. Welcome back to the channel. I apologize greatly for a little bit of a break from the channel. I've been extremely busy with filming and getting the last of my work done here before I, really hit the woods hard. I'm going to be on the road hunting for the next 2.5 weeks for sure. But I've been hunting every morning and every night here in Wisconsin for about the last 5-6 days. And I kind of want to go over a little bit of what I've been seeing, right? And you guys probably know we haven't been gifted with great weather, especially when it comes to seeing daylight movement of bucks during the pre-rut. And that's kind of exactly what I'm seeing. Now, I have ran into a couple good ones. On the 16th of October, I was actually full draw on a really nice 8-pointer. It was kind of that last light scenario. He came into a food plot, displaying dominance, scraping in the food plot. He got to about 31 yards. I was full draw, but I just could not see my pin to shoot. And I just didn't want to risk anything like that. I didn't want to take a marginal shot. I couldn't see my pin decently. And at the same time, I didn't necessarily know exactly what he was, right? It turns out I was reviewing the footage. He was probably a 3-year-old. I mean, he's super wide. He's 19 or 20 wide and just a really respectable 8-pointer. But not necessarily exactly what I'm looking for. I've got some bigger deer, some older deer that I'm trying to run in with, and I actually did have another run in with a super goofy buck. He's got a straight up side with like 2 or 3 points on it, just a real goofy buck, but he's got a mainframe 5-point side as well on that other side. And he's an old deer. I had him at like 80 yards a couple days ago, but the stars didn't align. I got him pulled into, like I said, about 80, but my grunt tube wasn't working that morning, so I had to kind of rely on the horns and try to get him in that way. He showed some interest, but he didn't want to commit because he didn't, see anything. So that opportunity kind of faded away as well. But here we are. It's October 30th, and everybody knows, this is kind of that time, right? You need to be in the woods. Well, why am I not in the woods? Because it's 70 degrees right now. Right? And I like to say, you got to be hunting to kill a deer, which is true, but at the same time, you might be able to tell as well, we've got 25 to 30 mile an hour winds right now as well. So we've got 70 degrees, 25 to 30 mile an hour winds, and there's really not a lot of deer movement going on, right? I sat yesterday morning, didn't see a deer. It was 80 degrees yesterday, and when I got up to go hunting, it was almost humid, right? It was almost like it felt like a July morning. And so it's just very bizarre weather for here in late October. But I kind of want to go over why this is such an excellent time to have this opportunity that's going to present itself here in the next coming days, right? And this weather is shaping up perfectly to be an explosion in activity, rut activity. And the whole reason behind that is we've got a massive storm front coming in here this afternoon, into the evening, and then into tomorrow morning as well. And what we've got is we've got these heavy winds, and we've got a rain system that's predicting 1.5 to 2 inches of rain, right? And like I've talked about, it's been really dry. I'm really happy we're getting that rain. We need it bad. But at the same time, it's going to produce a massive opportunity to capitalize on movement as soon as that passes through. And why is that? Well, we've got these heavy winds all day today. It's very warm, and these deer can sense this front rolling in. I can even sense it. You can smell the dampness and the humidity in the air. Something's about to hit. And so these deer can too. And what they're doing is they might move a little bit here midday. Prior to that storm, I had a couple bucks on camera here this morning, but nothing crazy, right? And it's kind of been quiet here midday. But these deer are going to end up hunkering down during this storm system. Now, if it was a little bit more light rain, I would say they might still move a little bit, right? But they're predicting super heavy rain, like I said, 1.5 to 2 inches. So that's a lot of rain, and these deer are not going to be moving during that time. They're going to be hunkered down. They're going to be in their bedding areas. And what that's going to do is that's going to make these deer very impatient. And when this passes, these deer are going to go absolutely berserk. And at the same time, what we've got going on is once this rain system rolls in here this evening, it's going to be continuing, but the temperatures are steadily dropping. And they're going to be dropping through the day tomorrow, which is going to be Halloween. And everybody knows you got to be in a tree stand on Halloween. That is my favorite day of the year to hunt. We actually ended up having snow last year, which was awesome. But no, it's going to be a great day because we've got this huge weather system pushing through. These deer are hunkered down, and you know, it's kind of hitting right at that perfect time where a lot of these first does are just starting to come in, right? You know, we might have a couple does here or there that are popping, you know, tonight, tomorrow. And what that's going to do is these deer are going to be hunkered down. And as soon as that rain passes and those temperatures are dropping and those winds switch, it's going to be a 180 switch from the south to the north. These deer are going to get up on their feet and they're going to be cruising hard because they don't want to miss the opportunity to breed that first doe. And so what I'm planning on doing, and I kind of want to give you guys some ideas of what's potentially going to be a really good opportunity to get in tight to some of these bedding areas. And like I said, this rainstorm is across most of the Midwest, and Minnesota and Wisconsin are going to get hit really hard. So basically, this is a really good opportunity to get in tight to some bedding areas. And why is that? Well, we're dealing with a lot of crunchy situations getting into the woods, going in deep. You know, you're going through a lot of these leaves. It's noisy. If you don't have wind, if you don't have rain, it's hard to get into some of these places. And I actually took advantage of that. A few days ago, we had about a 1/4 inch rain come, and I knew that the woods is going to be pretty quiet. I'm going to be able to slip into an area that otherwise it would be kind of difficult for me. And so I went in there and I ended up sitting all day because I ended up just getting trapped by deer. I had deer bedded all around me. I had multiple deer, like 4 or 5 deer within 40 yards, and I was stuck there all day. I had no food, no water. But I stuck it out because I ended up seeing 10 different bucks, and I ended up seeing about a dozen does. So it was an excellent sit. I never saw the right one, but at the same time, I was in the right area, right? Because things were happening, and I was able to get in there quietly enough to not disturb any of that bedding area, but still hunt it. And those deer just kind of started funneling in around me and setting up for the day. But that is the exact scenario that I'm going to implement here tomorrow morning. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this rain system and this big weather front to sneak into this bedding area, right? And the woods is going to be very quiet because of all that rainfall. I'm going to be able to sneak into this area, and this is in the heart of the property, right? This is the heart of the bedding area. You know, this is a very risky move, but I have the conditions that are all lining up perfectly. I've got these deer that are hunkered down for a day plus, and they're going to be rocking and rolling, ready to get on their feet. And being just inside that bedding area, I'm going to see deer, right? And I have the correct conditions to get in there safely. With the rain, I'm not going to make nearly as much noise as I would if it was dry, crunchy, and very quiet, calm, right? So I'm taking advantage of this big disturbance in the woods. There's going to be a lot of wind, there's going to be a lot of rain, and those deer are going to be hunkered down. And what I'm doing is I'm slipping in. Because of those changing conditions, I'm slipping in on this. And what I call this stand is the chute. And what it is it's multiple big sections of timber, and it's necked down because there's a field that kind of kitty corners up into there, and it necks these deer down and it funnels them in. So all of those different blocks of timbers kind of connect right in that corner, and that's exactly where I'm sitting, right? So I'm planning on sitting all day. I might have to deal with a little bit of rain here in the morning, as it kind of pushes out and trickles out, and as that wind switches around, it's actually setting up a little bit better for me. But this is the time of the year where I'm getting real aggressive. You know, I leave on Saturday for Missouri, and I've only got a handful of days yet to hunt. So I'm getting real aggressive. I'm going in tight to the good buck bedding areas, and basically I'm just banking on bucks running back and forth, crisscrossing through these big blocks of timber, and utilizing the conditions that I'm throwing right now to get into a spot that I otherwise would not be able to, right? If I had dry conditions, if I just had a massive temp drop and I didn't have a lot of wind, I didn't have a lot of rain, it'd still be very difficult for me to get into this area because I'm 400 or 500 yards down into the timber. And I don't have a very quiet access, right? And these are steep bluffs, so there's a lot of rocks, there's a lot of sticks. It's not a really easy place to access. So using these weather conditions to get in places that you otherwise wouldn't be able to, and then sticking it out, right? You know, we've got the perfect scenario, we've got dropping temperatures, we've got a weather system rolling out, and we've got Halloween, right? You know, I don't think it gets a whole lot better than that. So I just wanted to make this video to kind of urge you guys to get in the woods because this is a massive opportunity. These deer are going to be laying down most of this afternoon and through the evening and early morning hours, and then they're going to just explode here tomorrow when those temperatures start dropping. That storm system rolls out, they're going to be cruising super heavy. And at the same time, like I said, those winds switching to the north, if you can get on the leeward side of that wind direction, and what I mean by leeward is I've got a north wind coming like this. If you have a bluff coming up like this, if you get in on the back side of that, right? So you've got that wind, you're sheltered from the wind on that side. Those deer are going to gravitate towards that side because they don't have nearly as much movement in the timber going on, right? So that's what people mean by hunting the leeward side. That's the back side of the prevailing wind direction, right? So north wind, ridge top, bluff coming up right here. Get on the back side. Don't get on this front side. Get on the back side and let that wind carry over the top and shelter this whole hillside that you're hunting, right? That's exactly how this scenario that I'm hunting here tomorrow morning throughout the entire day, that's how that's gonna set up, right? I'm hunting the back side, deep in bedding. I've got a north wind cutting over the top. I'm sheltered down here. So that sets up perfectly for a lot of deer activity, a lot of deer movement, especially when you're dealing with 15, 20, 25-mile-an-hour winds. Those deer are still going to be on their feet, but they're going to be on their feet in different areas, right? They're not going to be up high on the tops, you know, dealing with all of this moving leaves and debris in the tree branches. That's going to scare them a little bit, right? If you can get in the sheltered areas, tuck yourself in, you're going to have a lot of deer movement, especially on Halloween here tomorrow.